All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host for today's broadcast, Insane Larry 13, as we are about to get underway for a exhibition event for the PPRL series. It seems like we have had some sort of technical issue before we have gotten underway. I do apologize for that. Hopefully we'll be able to get this fixed relatively shortly here. But it's just going to be an exhibition race. This is not part of any of their wider championship series or their upcoming All-Star event. This is just a get-together of about 10 to 13 people in tonight's event, going for about 100 laps here around Homestead Miami Speedway. So real quickly, for those of you who are not familiar with PPRL, they have a few interesting, unique rules. Under normal circumstances, they do not allow any tuning whatsoever. The lobbies are locked to spec builds. So you have the stock spec tune on your car with no upgrades, no adjustments, no nothing. Another interesting thing is their caution flag rules. You're guaranteed the first 10 laps of a race to be under yellow. You're guaranteed the last 10 laps of a race to be under yellow. And after any yellow that does happen in the middle of a event, you are guaranteed 10 laps of green flag racing as soon as that restart begins. So you're guaranteed very large chunks of green flag racing throughout the events today. Why does it say only 2 laps long? I do not know. I'm hoping that they're going to get it readjusted momentarily here. So we are running just a little bit behind schedule. That was mainly a me issue. I had a bit of a technical bug on my end that kind of delayed things a bit. I do apologize for that, as we are currently standing by waiting for them to hopefully adjust the lap counter, because it looks like it's set to only 2 laps, and if it's supposed to be a 100 lap race, I'm not really sure how 2 laps are supposed to be done. Qualifying has already been ran. Real quickly, let's look at some of the drivers who will be partaking in today's event. Dawson 14, who is the series host, series owner right now, is going to be in the number 96 CVS Health Pharmacy machine. Punisher 1353 will be in the Moza number 33 Mustang. 12-ounce Willie will be in the very fancily colored number 84 machine. Link the Racer will be in the number 711 Chevrolet. Godbuster will be in the number 90 Mustang. Ghost Reaper will be in the 27 Mustang. Waterfire, oh, okay. I'm guessing they didn't adjust their lap counter? If they didn't adjust their lap counter, we may have to see them do another lobby reset here. We're going to find out shortly here. It didn't look like they adjusted their lap counter, but we'll find out momentarily, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I think that goes to show that, yeah, they did not adjust their lap counter. I'm not sure what's going on here. I hope you all enjoy this little taste of racing a little bit earlier than normal. Although we are in ghost mode right now as well, which also makes things a bit interesting. I wonder if they're redoing qualifying just for this one circumstance. I didn't see anything in the Discord regarding this, so I'm wondering if this is just a qualifying reset. Well, in either scenario, we're just about done here. Gotta wait a little bit for PRG Black to make his way back around the field. Once this is done, I'll try to run through the car list again and give you a better idea as to who is or isn't running here. There we are. So with it being a 100 lap race, we are anticipating the event to take about 50 minutes to an hour from green flag to checkers. Might end up being a little bit longer depending on how many yellow flags we get over the course of the event. Yeah, it's still set to 2 laps. Not really sure why. But real quick, let's look at some of the drivers who will be taking part in today's event. Ghost Reaper 617 will be in the number 27 Monster Energy Mustang. XR Frosted 72 will be in the number 17 Crown Royal Mustang. Link the Racer will be in the number 7 711 Chevrolet. Godbuster 99 will be in the number 90 Moza Mustang. Waterfire is going to be in the Camry. XMS Dragon will be in the number 35 Camry. Dubs 1775 will be in the mid-2010s Kyle Larson expired number 42 Target Machine. 12-ounce Willie will be in the very colorful number 84 Mustang. Royally Stone will be in the number 77 Camaro. PRG Black will be in the number 9 Camaro. Boss Racer Pro 199. For some reason, his paint scheme is not loaded at all, but he will be in another one of the Camrys. Punisher 1353 will be in the number 33 Mustang. Dawson 14 will be in the number 96 Camry. And Gen 3 L79 will be in the number 81 Camaro. All right, looks like they adjusted the lap counter finally. We're going to go ahead and knock out a Twitch-mandated ad break now, and hopefully we can get a little bit of good green flag running before Twitch mandates another ad break. So we'll be back momentarily here at Homestead Miami Speedway, hopefully to get underway for this race proper. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Homestead Miami Speedway. One of the odd features of the PPRL League is, as they require you to run the stock spec NASCAR tune, you will automatically load onto the track on the medium tire choice for these stock cars, which makes things particularly interesting because typically these races are designed to where soft tires are the tire of choice. So normally we see the vast majority of the field rush around and very quickly put brand new tires on before they even complete a pace lap in these events. So it's going to take a little bit longer to get the grid properly ordered up, as we are looking at a 14-car field for tonight's exhibition event. And I have a feeling that Dubs may have actually gotten damaged when he got hit while he was coming to a stop. Yes, Dubs has gotten damaged. So there are 2 drivers who seem to have been damaged in this event here. It's going to take a little bit for the game, I imagine, to properly organize everyone's cars here. As we utilize the rail camera to look at some of our drivers on our grid today, including the 7-Eleven machine, the number 9, the number 35, the number 27, and the 17, that 2013 era Matt Kenseth car. Number 90 is with us, as is the 77 and the number 81. Also, here is the 84. I absolutely love how colored up that thing is. I would never drive it myself, but there is quite a bit of confidence in how that thing is colored up at the moment. And it looks like Dawson 14 may have just lagged out on us. Are we going to have to do a lobby reset again? Yep, it looks like we're going to be setting up for a lobby reset, as it looks like Dawson has lagged out. Series host lagged out, so we will have to rack them and stack them another time here. So, attempt number 4 now, technically. Well, it might be 3 out. Again, maybe that 2-lapper was the actual proper qualifying and I missed the information. All right, looks like we're about to try this again, as we are seeing them manually reordering the grid. So I'm guessing that they're going to go ahead and get everything pre-ordered here on circuit. You know, we won't have to end up on the back straightaway. Well, we still will if they have to go backwards to put new tires on, but this should help a little bit when it comes to actually ordering everything out here. All right, looks like they've gotten everyone ordered up now. So we should be loading onto the circuit momentarily here. If we end up with another restart, I'll try and knock out another Twitch mandated ad break to get us a little bit more free time once we are actually racing properly here. Okay, rolling start this time. Alright, I guess we're just going green right off the bat then. So, it will be Link the Racer who leads PRG Black to the green flag, and we are underway as they fire it off onto the back straightaway. Link leads, Ghost Reaper runs in second, PRG Black has slipped back to third with XMS Dragon trying to make something happen, side by side for a second position, just behind that 7-Eleven machine. There's a little bit of contact, the 9 car drifts a little bit high. They're still side by side behind Link, but they do not seem to be able to get alongside yet. 2 drivers farther in the back are taking an extreme high line. I believe one of them was Royally Stone. And that number 77 trapped on the extreme outside, very briefly on the outside of a 3-wide scenario back there. But it looks like they're stabilized for the moment. Meanwhile, up front, Ghost Reaper is trying to hold a tighter inside line to close in on Link the Racer. He slides up the track a little bit. One driver is in ghost mode farther back. It looks like that's Boss Racer Pro, who has already slipped to the rear of the grid, some sort of connection issue. But Ghost continues to run right behind Link the Racer at the moment, with PRG Black just a little bit farther back of our top 3 drivers. Black is running a very nice tight line in the corners. Ghost Reaper is taking a more middling lane. Link the Racer seems to go between a middling lane and a very high lane right now. This time, Link is going to go up high nice and early, and Ghost Reaper gets a run side by side for a lead as they come across the line. It's still Link who leads, but that number 27 can fire it off into the inside. That's exactly what he does. Ghost Reaper goes to the front. That's our first lead change of the day on the 4th lap of the event. Number 7 is tucked up behind the 27, and now here comes that number 9 of PRG, Black 30. Black going to go to the extreme inside. He wants to try and steal the lead now. Side by side as they go through turn 3 and through turn 4. The number 27, though, still has the advantage. Now the number 7 is going to do the crossover on corner exit. He gets to the inside of Black, and it looks like XMS Dragon is still right there. So we have a 4-car breakaway at the head of this field right now. Waterfire back in 5th is leading the rest of the pack farther back, but this is the main crew at the moment as XMS Dragon now looks to the inside of PRG Black as Ghost Reaper is the driver who is leading the field around at this stage of the event. Dragon and Black side by side, but they're slowing each other down in the corners now as neither of them are getting the ideal optimal line. This is laying a small breakaway start to form between Ghost Reaper and Link the Racer. Link trying to close back in on Ghost as they come back onto the back straightaway now. The gap is about a quarter of a car length between their nose and tail. Now there's nothing. Link very briefly makes contact with Ghost Reaper's rear bumper just before they get into turn number 3. They're still staying just about perfectly nose to tail as they go through 3 and 4. Now down the front straightaway again. It is going to be a little bit of a push that the number 7 is giving the number 27 as they're trying to pull away from Black and Dragon. Likewise, Black and Dragon have stopped fighting, but they are not taking the same lines. They do seem to have a little bit more air between their cars. We are not seeing them pushing each other to try and run down on the top 2 right now. So Ghost Reaper and Link the Racer seem to be in a zone of their own. Then you look back here to this bunch of cars, and that's Willie! Willie, hard on the wall! He's up! He's into the fence! Spinning on his nose, and now he gets hit from underside by Boss Racer! And Willie is still flipping! He finally lands on all 4 tires! Dawson is able to make it into the pit lane. I believe it was Boss Racer's car that was hit him from the underside, but there does not appear to be any damage in that. Gen 3 has also come to a stop in the number 81 machine, with his car is similarly destroyed in everywhere except for that right rear set of springs. So a massive multi-car accident, and this has set us under the first yellow flag of the event. So we're going to go ahead and knock out a Twitch-mandated ad break, and when we come back, we should see them coming back to the green flag here at Miami. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to Homestead Miami Speedway. At the moment, Ghost Reaper is your leader. 4 drivers elected to pit under this yellow flag. They are PRG Black, who is running up near the front, along with Boss Racer Pro Dawson 14, who was involved in that incident, and 12-ounce Willie, who seems to still be in pit lane now, and they have finally gotten him rolling. And we are likely going to see the field beginning to double up here at the head of the grid now. So everyone except for 12-ounce Willie and Gen 3 has now doubled up, and after that massive accident due to the very lenient rules regarding lapped cars, everyone is back on the lead lap, and we will be going back racing here on lap 11. It will be Ghost Reaper on the inside, Link the Racer on the outside here at Miami, as everyone is just about doubled up. And we're off, and it looked like Link was caught off guard. Ghost Reaper gets a fantastic launch, and Link slips back to second. They're still side by side behind. It is Waterfire and XMS Dragon going at just behind them. The 79 to the inside of the 35. Royally Stone is hanging out just behind this duo as Reaper and Link are trying to scoot away from the rest of the field like what they did earlier. You can see PRG Black trying to make his way up through the field as quickly as possible right now. It looks like we're going to see that green and black car of Waterfire slap the outside wall, and he's going to fall 2, maybe even 3 positions in the straightaway. They are briefly 3 wide as they go down into turn number 1. The 77 tries to cross over in front of that black and green car. However, the 77 is now going to lose a position in the process. Waterfire gets the draft back on XMS Dragon, closes back in behind. They are back to be nose to tail for first and second, and then a different, slightly different, that is, nose to tail for third and fourth, as the 79 is trying to close back in on the 35. The 35 very nearly hits the outside wall. Waterfire pulls up right behind the number 35, but he is not going to go for a big dive bomb. Not this time, not here. But at the front, it is Ghost Reaper leading. Link the Racer there, back to what they were doing earlier. It's a little bit of slam drafting every time they get onto the straightaway. Link the Racer gets right underneath Ghost Reaper's rear bumper and is just pushing him down the straights, trying to give him some extra straightaway speed as they're trying to break away from the rest of the field early on here. Farther back, there is a bit of a split that is forming. 11th, 12th, 13th, and 14th. This is Dubs, Punisher, Gen 3, and Willie. These 4 drivers have all kind of fallen back a bit. They're all just running their own strategy here at the back of the grid, not really keeping up with the lead group. The interesting part is PRG Black, who was one of our top 4 drivers before the yellow flag. He elected to pit, he went to the back, and he has not been rushing up through the field. He has actually fallen back to about the 9th and 10th position and has not been able to make any forward progress. He has been stuck at the rear of this large pack of cars and just has not seemed to be able to get by even Boss Racer Pro. And the big problem is, if this duo continues to run side by side and cut speed off of each other by going side by side like that, they will lose touch with that pack up ahead, and any chance that PRG Black had of being up near the front will be completely derailed here. Farther up, you do have Waterfire and Royally Stone. They're the ones leading this big pack, but now you have XMS Dragon trying to make the outside line work, as Royally Stone had a little bit too tight of an inside line, bleeds off a bit too much speed, and at the front, there is a fight very briefly for Lee as Link the Racer pulled to the inside of Ghost Reaper, did not actually push him down the front straightaway. He actually looked to the inside to try and get alongside. Now we see the number 27 slide back up in front of the number 7, and they are back to pushing, although Link the Racer is not pushing him exactly square now. You can see a very slight amount of offset on their bumper to bumper, so that means that there is a very distinct possibility we could see Link accidentally turn Ghost, and it looks like Punisher has come into the pit lane, and Gen 3 has come to a stop here on the exit of turn number 4. His car is absolutely destroyed on all corners. I'm not sure what's happened there. He may have been involved in another accident, but due to the rules of this series, after a yellow flag, you are guaranteed 10 laps of green flag running here. So they will continue to run green until lap 21, and only then, if Gen 3 or Punisher are still on track, off pace, and a danger, only then will they consider throwing the yellow flag. But at the moment, it is 1-2, nose to tail, Ghost Reaper and Link the Racer, as Waterfire continues to lead this big pack of cars from 3rd down to about the 10th position right now. finally, PRG Black is starting to make his way up through the grid. He has moved up into the 7th position now, just behind XMS Dragon 1. Dragon, who is another driver who was farther up the grid earlier in the event, seems to have slipped back into this big pack of cars at the moment. So at this point in the event, 12-ounce Willie has lost touch with the lead group. So has Dubs 1775. Punisher 1353 has gone a lap down and is actually at risk of going a second lap down. Jin 3 has finally limped the car around using the pit lane entry road. He will finally get into the pits, but he is going to likely be 4, maybe even 5 laps down by the time it is over. For Punisher, he has now officially gone a second lap down. He tries to hold the inside line as nice and consistently as he can, so it won't cause any problems for your leaders, Ghost Reaper and Link the Racer, who are using some slam drafting to gradually pull away from the rest of the field here. We are also starting to see a little bit of a spread in this big pack of cars farther back. Waterfire and XR Frosted are now starting, well, Waterfire and Dawson are now starting to pull away a bit from XR Frosted and XMS Dragon at the moment. So now with this big pack of cars starting to break up, I imagine we are going to see a lot more drivers dealing with some tire fall off. We are about 1/5 of the way through this exhibition race. Your leader is at 28.8% wear on that right front tire. He still has plenty of fuel in the tank right now, but of the drivers who pitted earlier, I want to real quickly look at PRG Black, who is on fresher rubber. He is at 18.5% on the rubber. He has 77% in the fuel tank, so he is going to be able to stay out on track for a significantly longer period of time, but he has been spending so much time fighting with these other drivers on track that while he is going to have a slight temporary track advantage by being in clean air, it may not end up being a significant advantage as he would like it to be, because he keeps losing time touching and bumping with these cars around him in the midfield. So your leaders have now pulled out roughly a 3.4 second lead over Dawson 14, who has Waterfire just behind him. That is lap car of 12-ounce Willie, who has now slipped back down the order a bit. Dubs has still lost the touch of the lead pack, but everyone else still seems to be roughly together as this pack is now beginning to merge back together. Racer Pro seems to be backing up this group a little bit. So we have a pair of cars up front, then another pair for 3rd and 4th, and then everyone from about 5th to 10th all on top of each other, or pretty close to being on top of each other, and then 11th, 12th, 13th, and 14th all running on their own at the moment. Waterfire runs behind Dawson 14 at the moment. It seems like they have stopped the majority of the bleeding that they've had to the two leaders, but I do not know if they have anything that will let them actually close down on Reaper or Link. For a moment, Link actually falls off of Ghost Reaper's rear bumper a little bit here. But he closes back in, gives him another nice solid push down the front straightaway here. As long as these tires haven't fallen off, as long as the hits to the rear of these cars are nice and square, this duo should be able to continue to slowly pull away from most of the rest of the field. This is Bass Racer Pro dealing with Godbuster, looking to his inside now. Just about nose to tail. Now here comes that number 9 machine. That's PRG Black. Black is going to use the lapped car of Willie as a pick. But for the moment, it looks like it's now Godbuster that has gotten by Boss. Black is still trying to set up, waiting for Win. They finally catch lap traffic to try and use that to leap forward. And there it is. There is Willie as they have finally caught him. We are 15 laps into this green flag run right now. Boss Racer puts the door-to-door on Godbuster, and Buster, trapped on the extreme outside line, falls rapidly down the grid. This worked out well for Boss Racer. He will get to the inside of the traffic before anyone is able to take advantage of it, and Black's setup is all going to go for nothing here. Godbuster now coming back to the inside of Boss Racer Pro, side by side again for the 5th and 6th position. And while this group is all having a good time fighting amongst each other, the top 4 continue to scoot away from the rest of the field here. It's a fun little 6-car pack. well, technically 7 cars because we have a lap driver in there. But the thing is that having fun is not usually going to be the same as being able to go right to the front and fighting competitively at the head of this field. It is still Ghost Reaper leading Link the Racer around right now, with Dawson leading Waterfire for the 3rd and 4th positions at the moment. Still side by side. That black and blue machine very nearly gets squeezed into the outside wall here. We're going to ride on board with XMS Dragon for a little bit. Give you an idea of what it's like running around at high speed in the middle of this pack here. And you can audibly hear how all 4 of those drivers in that pack all were getting on and off the throttle at significantly different times, but now the pack has broken up into 2 pairs of 3 cars each. Boss Racer Pro, Godbuster, and XMS Dragon is in one set. Black 30, Royally Stoned, and XR Frosted are in the other set of 3 cars at the moment. As we are almost 1/3 of the way through the event here, and we look at our leader, Ghost Reaper. He still has a little bit less than half of the fuel tank still in the car. We did run several laps under the yellow flag earlier in the event. Several drivers elected to pit under that yellow flag, so we will have a variety when it comes to pit stop strategies right now. There is a possibility, though not a guarantee, that we could see a driver like PRG Black 30 make it the rest of the way with no more pit stops. As now this pack that had split into 2 groups of 3 has now merged back into one big super pack of 6 cars. But again, these 6 all jostling for position. They are significantly slower than the 2 at the front, and they are moderately slower than Dawson and Waterfire. And Boss Racer Pro has slid around. He is backwards on the front straightaway, still backwards. The car is completely destroyed at the front. That might warrant a yellow flag. We'll see shortly if it ends up warranting a yellow flag or not. No sign of yellows yet. And it does look like Boss Racer has gotten going again. But now you see Link looks to the inside of Ghost Reaper. So a bit of a fight now at the head of this field. They are side by side through 1 and 2. We've not seen this for a bit. And yes, it does seem like we are going to stay under green flag conditions, which is going to be rough for Boss Racer Pro. He's going to have to limp his car around the entire circuit before he can try and get it into pit lane and repair it. Ghost Reaper holds the lead over Link right now. That is Boss Racer Pro just ahead of this duo at the moment now, as we have eclipsed the 1/3 distance in this race. And we, I believe, are under yellow now. Yes, we are now under a caution, we believe, for Boss Racer Pro's accident. So under this yellow flag, just past the 1/3 mark, we're going to go ahead and knock out a Twitch mandated ad break. We'll be back momentarily here at Homestead Miami Speedway. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to Homestead Miami Speedway. The entirety of our lead lap pack has elected to pit under this yellow flag. This will put 12-ounce Willie back on the lead lap. Punisher will now get 1 lap back as well, and Gen 3 will go from being 4 laps down to 3 laps down. The big thing though, Boss Racer Pro, by not pitting despite having catastrophic damage, was barely able to stay on the lead lap, so he is still in the middle of this fight. The other thing to consider, PRG Black was able to get a slightly shorter fill as he came in and out of the pit lane. So we are looking at a scenario where Black has now moved back up into the 4th position, but will still be Link the Racer and Ghost Reaper at the head of this field. More significantly than anything else, I would argue, is the fact that Willie is now back on the lead lap. Punisher has elected to make another stop though, so they will still be a lap down. Gen 3 is still 3 laps down at this stage of the event as well. And the field is already doubling up. Real quickly, just look at Willie just to verify. He has not made a stop. Yeah, he still has worn tires and some burnt up fuel. Everyone else ahead of him though on nice fresh rubber, so he will want another yellow flag quickly to get new rubber on. Another thing to consider, there is a very distinct possibility that drivers who have pitted now, if we stay green to the end, which seems unlikely, but if we stay green to the end, we may not see any more pit stops from our lead pack. As they come out of turn number 4, and we are underway. Green flag once again here at Homestead Miami. Punisher had a good run as he didn't quite yet catch the rear of the grid. So he's already nice and up to pace right away. But immediately, Link the Racer and Ghost Reaper are trying to do their nose-to-tail stuff to pull away from the rest of the grid. Dawson is not having any of it. He is looking to the inside. He needs to go in there, get alongside Ghost Reaper, and force Ghost Reaper off of that ideal line, so that way he can break the draft that Ghost Reaper keeps forming with Link, because otherwise Ghost and Link are going to bump draft their way away from the rest of the field and just leave everyone else waiting in the dust here. Black and Waterfire stuck side by side back there for the 4th position. As they head down the back straightaway here, you can see them briefly going 3 wide at the rear of the grid. But it looks like it's already too late. Dawson has thrown his best shot at getting by Ghost Reaper away. And now Link the Racer and Ghost Reaper are back to doing their tandem drafting, and they are pulling away from the rest of the field slowly yet surely here at Homestead Miami Speedway. Down the back straightaway, Dawson is doing just enough to stay in the draft of the top 2, but he is currently a non-factor in this battle for a lead, although he did get a good run through 3 and 4. Ghost Reaper and Link got a little bit separated there. That might be all he needs. Can he finally break up this duo? He's going to get to the inside. He goes to the lead. Dawson will be our 4th different leader of the race now, and PRG Black has come into the pit lane. I'm not sure what has warranted that. He may have damaged the car off the outside wall, but Black, who had ran in the top 4 earlier in the day, now finds himself going to go a lap down, if not 2 laps down. And Dawson 14 is your new race leader, with Link the Racer and Ghost Reaper now side by side fighting for 2nd behind him. They fire it off once more into turn 1. Waterfire is there in the middle of it as well. Black has now officially gone a lap down and is going to lose even more ground than that, might even fall behind Punisher at the rate that this is going. So now that Dawson is leading, we're not seeing that 2-car breakaway that we were earlier. It is now a legitimate fight between about 4 cars, with 5th place Godbuster hanging out just a little bit farther back. It is Dawson who leads with the number 27 of Ghost Reaper just behind. Link the Racer is a little bit farther back in 3rd. Waterfire in 4th. Godbuster has been losing ground in 5th. And then you have to go way back. This is 12-ounce Willie. Remember, he is on a lighter fuel load, but much more in tires. He has worked his way up into the 6th position after being involved in an accident earlier and going a lap down. And very nearly gets turned by Boss Racer Pro coming out of turn number 4. That's going to give Dubs a shot maybe at something. Meanwhile, at the front, the 27 just got back to the inside of the number 96, and here comes the 7 as well. Dawson has to do everything he can to try and keep that number 7 from hooking up with the 27 again. Otherwise, that duo will move away from the rest of the pack again. Waterfire continues to run in 4th, but he's just hanging on with the draft. It does not seem like he has what it takes to properly fight forward and do something to that trio ahead right now. Now they fire it off once again, down into turns 1 and 2. Not quite halfway through the event here. The number 96, that CVS Health Camry, looks to the outside, cannot make anything of it, and leaves himself open to attack from Link. He falls back in line behind Ghost, uses the draft off of Ghost to defend against Link. They are all back to being nose to tail, going through turn 3. Now into turn 4, the number 96 looks to that left rear corner panel of Ghost, gets Ghost a little bit sideways. There's going to be a drag race between the two of them as they go down the front straightaway. The 96 on the inside is going to shoot to the inside, and side by side as they go through turn 2 this time. Is this going to be enough for the 96 to go back to the lead? Not quite, not yet. The number 7 now on the outside, he's going to give the 27 a push. So while Dawson is leading on the inside, Link the Racer is now back to be able to give the 27 those big pushes, and here comes Waterfire. The 27 is too high. He bleeds off a huge chunk of time. He goes from 2nd to 4th. So now it is Dawson, Link, Waterfire, and Ghost Reaper. In that order, the top 4 perfectly nose to tail as they sail it off down, and then turn number 1 again. The number 96 continues to lead at the moment. Link the Racer is just a little bit farther back in 2nd. Waterfire in 3rd. Ghost Reaper is still in 4th, but he is now losing touch with the top 3 at the moment. So now Dawson is the driver who is taking charge here in this middle 3rd of the race. It had been all Ghost Reaper and Link, but now Dawson is taking command in the middle 3rd of the event. Not quite perfectly nose to tail between the top 3 at this moment of the event. Farther back, Boss Racer Pro leads this big pack of cars, but he is fighting with 12-ounce Willie. Royally Stone is just behind, so is XR Frosted, and then you have to go way farther back to find XMS Dragon and Dubs. They also have a lapped car in the middle of this fight as well. I believe it is Black 30. But meanwhile, we look back at the head of this grid. Now it seems like Link is willing to just start doubling up and pushing whoever is ahead of him. Now he is starting to try and give Dawson some nice big shoves down the straightaways, but it doesn't look like he has quite the synergy with Dawson that he had with Ghost Reaper earlier, and Ghost Reaper is now the one trying to give Waterfire similar pushes. So while this is a 1.5 mile track, it's not super high bank, we are still seeing NASCAR super speedway style tandems here being used by the top drivers in the series to pull themselves away from the rest of the grid right now. Waterfire and Ghost Reaper get a little bit side by side there for a bit. It seems like that 79 is not able to take the pushes from Ghost Reaper. But 79 isn't able to give the pushes like he wants either, as he is now falling off the back of Ghost Reaper. So now the question is Link going to continue to work with Dawson here and try to push away from him, or is he going to go ahead, back off a bit, let Ghost Reaper close back in, and then the two of them work together to try and overtake and beat Dawson here at the head of this field? There is a car that is slow on the front straightaway. That is 12-ounce Willie, who is significantly slowed down the straight. No damage, not sure what's happened there, but he has gotten to the point where his tires are very heavily worn. We have just passed the halfway point. If he pitted now, he would not have to pit for the rest of the race. However, he would go at least 1, if not 2 laps down. So he just has to limp it around and hope that we get a yellow flag so he can get a free pit stop and be back on sequence with everyone ahead of him. They fire it off now into turns 3 and 4 again. Dawson holding a little bit inside tighter line. Link is not seeming to be hooked up quite as much with Dawson as he was with Ghost, but they are still very slowly pulling away from Ghost Reaper and Waterfire. Those seem to be the 4 drivers that look like they will be deciding this race to the end here. With about 2/3 of the fuel tank left, I imagine we will see these drivers make it to the end on fuel. So even if we stay green to the end here, I think everyone on track should be able to make it to the end on gas. Back real quick. 66.6 across the line there for Dawson. And we'll see exactly how much fuel he burnt up on this lap when he goes back by shortly here. Now, tires may be a bit more of an issue for him, though. But fuel will definitely last to the end for him. So he was at 66.6 when he crossed the start-finish line. Using about 2.1% of his fuel tank per lap. So again, if you're using about 2.1% a lap and you have 100%, that would be a 50-lap fuel tank. Actually, a little bit less. It would be a little bit closer to about 45-lap fuel tank. So I'm going to take back what I said. They may not have the fuel to go to the end, actually. So we may see a round of green flag pit stops eventually, unless there's another yellow flag. And that's the thing. We have not had a super long run under green flag conditions yet in this event. So if we have green flag stops, that could be the big wild card that upends and changes this entire event here. Again, the other thing is going to be tire life. These tires do not seem to be holding on super well. Ooh, that 7-Eleven car slapped the outside wall just a bit there and lost a bit of ground. He's got close enough to Dawson that he's able to use the draft to stay there. But he does not seem to have what it takes to really give him those big pushes from earlier. And you can tell because Ghost Reaper has very slowly over the last 5 laps held that gap or slightly closed that gap between himself and these two drivers ahead. So we are still looking at a 4-car fight to the end here. Dawson, Link, Ghost Reaper, and Waterfire. The thing that's going to be really interesting, in my opinion, will be this driver here, 12-ounce Willie. As he is low on fuel, his tires are burning up. He will have to pit sooner rather than later. But when he does, he will not have to pit again, and everyone else will have to pit. So even if he goes a lap down, he is guaranteed to get at least 1 lap back, if not multiple lap back, just by being the faster car for multiple laps on fresher tires, and he won't have to worry about pitting again. Oh, but he slaps the outside wall. I think Willie may have pushed those tires a little bit too far. If he knows what's best for him, I would recommend that Willie goes ahead and pits at the end of the following lap. Ghost Reaper has moved up to second. It looks like Link the Racer has actually fallen back to 4th. While we were looking farther back down the grid, it looks like our second place driver has lost ground. So Dawson has now opened up a gap on the rest of the field now by about 0.8 over Ghost Reaper and Waterfire. Waterfire continues to try and give Ghost Reaper some push as they are desperately trying to run down the gap between themselves and Dawson right now, but they are not having much luck at making it happen. Not quite nose to tail through there. But Ghost Reaper is indeed now closing the gap down on Dawson. Dawson does not have another driver giving him a little push or a little bit of a reverse draft, pushing him forward on the straight. So now Ghost Reaper is closing in, and he's dragging Waterfire with him. Link the Racer has legitimately lost his pace. Now that he is not running with anyone else, he just seems to be off pace here. And he may be at risk of losing significant ground. So the first third of the event was dominated by Link the Racer and Ghost Reaper. The middle third has been Dawson's event. But as we are on our longest green flag run thus far of the day, 12-ounce Willie finally goes ahead and jumps into the pit lane. Who is going to be the key driver here in the final third of this exhibition race? With about 25 minutes left in the event, assuming no more yellows, Dawson is trying to nurse a 3/4 second lead over Ghost Reaper right now. Real quickly, let's look at the fuel and tire wear of our top 3. 41.8% wear on that right front tire, 47% left in the fuel tank. For Ghost Reaper, who is just behind, he is at 49% in the fuel, 40.6% wear. So Ghost Reaper is doing a better job managing his fuel and tires. Waterfire is at 38% fuel, 43% tires. So Waterfire is in the worst position when it comes to fuel and tires. Ghost Reaper is better than both of them, and Dawson is somewhere in the middle. And I would mention Link the Racer, but now Link is just hemorrhaging ground as our leaders are now trying to navigate their way through lap traffic. Dawson is really being held up by XMS Dragon there, and that lead went from 3/4 of a second to only about a half a second there, if not even less than that. But the question is, of course, how long will it take for Ghost Reaper to navigate traffic as well? As we now go ahead and ride on board with Ghost Reaper, he pulls up behind that number 35 machine. He's going to dive to the inside, have a little bit of a drag race with that lapped car. He's getting a bit of a push by Waterfire there that will help him clear just a little bit quicker. The gap between Dawson and Ghost Reaper at 6/10 now. Ghost Reaper will clear the 81 machine with basically no issue whatsoever. The gap, though, is starting to open back up in Dawson's favor, it would appear. It does seem like Dawson did a little bit better job navigating traffic than what Ghost Reaper did. Not massively, the gap has shut a bit, but not enough to turn the momentum of this event decisively into Ghost Reaper's favor. But again, now that we are 2/3 of the way through the event, we are anticipating one more stop by the majority, if not everyone in the grid. 47% tire wear right now. 41% left in the fuel tank. Link seems to have stabilized at about a little less than 2 seconds behind our leader right now. So he may still be in it. He might still be in this fight. As we are under our longest green flag run, and we are now seeing our leaders putting drivers a lap down at this stage of the event. Here's Dubs, here's PRG Black, but I want to take a note of 12-ounce Willie. He is 2 laps down right now, but he was the first driver to pit. He is on fresher tires. He is the fastest driver on track right now, and he will not have to pit again for the rest of the race. Now, his tires will be a little bit worn out near the end of the event, but he will not have to pit for the rest of this race. So while he is 2 laps down now, if we run green all the way to the end here, he is going to get at least one, if not both of those laps back, partially because he's just so much faster than everyone else on circuit right now. He just needs to be cautious on what moves he makes and where he makes them. He does not want to get caught up in someone else's mess here. Seems like he is struggling to use this speed, though, to get by other cars. Link the Racer has now cut the gap down to about 1.5 seconds behind our top 3, and our top 3 are all just about nose to tail now. So it is Dawson, Ghost Reaper, Waterfire. 1, 2, 3 as they sail around turns 3 and 4 now. Fire it down the front stretch once again. Waterfire uses the draft to really close in on that 27. That was another driver slow there. That was 12-ounce Willie, who may have had an incident there. No damage, but he has now lost ground to the drivers he was fighting with. So everything I was saying positive about his strategy, you might as well throw that away. He has not had what's taken to keep everything clean here, it would appear. So now it's 29 laps to go. When do our leaders elect to make their, what should be, their final stop of the day? 53.6% wear on that right front tire at the moment. Link now starting to lose ground to the top 3 again. The 27 looks to the inside. Waterfire licks the outside wall just a bit. You can tell that these drivers have pushed their tires past their limit here at Miami. Side by side for lead now. The 27 back up in front. The 96 now falling. So Ghost Reaper goes back to the point. It had been Ghost Reaper and Link the Racer dominating the first third. Dawson dominated the middle third. Has this been the change? Is this now where Ghost Reaper takes control of the event all over again? 27 laps to go now. Technically 28 because you want to count the lap you're on as well. Royally Stone now pitting. He is one of the first drivers on the lead lap to go ahead and make a pit stop. But again, you pit under green and you're going to go multiple laps down. But if you stay out for too long, you're going to lose so much ground that even with that, unless you get a yellow flag, you're just going to be in massive amounts of trouble here. Side by side again. Now it is Waterfire who is alongside Dawson, and it is Ghost Reaper running just behind. He looks high, he looks low. All three of these drivers are sliding all over the circuit as their tires have completely fallen off from them. Still side by side for a lead with Waterfire to the inside. Dawson the high side. Here can he come. 3 wide as he goes through turn number 4. And on the inside is that number 27 of Ghost Reaper. There'll be 3 wide and across the line. And the 27 goes to the lead now. And we have a caution. And all the strategy that we were talking about made irrelevant. We're going to knock out a Twitch mandated ad break. We'll be back momentarily here at Homestead Miami Speedway. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to Homestead Miami Speedway. Link the Racer has just had an accident under yellow. Not sure what's going on there, but all of our lead pack is pitting under this yellow flag. So everyone who had gone at least 1 lap down will now rush around and get a lap back. Now the problem is a lot of these drivers had either not pitted yet, or they had pitted, but they already have some significant wear on their tires. So it's not going to be great for these guys. They have gotten at least 1 lap back, but I don't know how good it's going to be. Royally Stone may have a small advantage with already having fuel in the tank, but his tires have already got some wear on them as well. I just do not feel like it's going to be a good scenario for a lot of these people. Don't know what's going on here with Link. But coming out of the pits, it looks like it is Ghost Reaper who leads. Dawson and Waterfire, Godbuster, now will move up to 4th. XR Frosted will be 5th. It'll take a little bit of time to gather the field up, but we should be going green with about 20 to 21 laps to go. PRG Black going ahead and knocking out a pit stop now. He will have to rush, though, to try and catch the back of the grid if he does not want to lose touch with the rest of the field. He is still, in time at least, a lap behind the lead group, so he needs to rush and catch this lead pack immediately. Coming to the green flag, so we're going to be going green with about 23 laps to go. Yeah, 23 laps to go here at Homestead Miami Speedway. And yes, Black will catch the rear of the grid. All 14 drivers who started are still in the event, and we are underway once more at Homestead Miami. Immediately, Dawson pulls back, and Ghost Reaper goes to the front. Big thing, though, is that Link and Ghost Reaper, who had worked so fantastically well together earlier, they have now broken up. They've now been broken up. So now Ghost Reaper can't just draft out into the distance with someone else. He's going to have to legitimately fight with another driver for this. He will not just be able to cruise into the distance. Boss Racer and Link the Racer having a bit of a squabble here in the midfield right now. 9 drivers still on the lead lap at this stage of the event, but if we got another yellow, that would go up to 12 drivers. Side by side here between Racer and Frosted. Dawson, meanwhile, gets to the inside of Ghost Reaper. He will complete the pass. Waterfire runs just behind. Ooh, the 27 puts the bumper to the number 96. That's going to slow both of them down, and now here comes Waterfire on the inside. He's going to get alongside, not just second place, but alongside for first, and Waterfire gets his nose ahead as they go into turn number 1. He still is ahead as they go into turn number 2. So now the 27 and 96 are side by side coming out of turn number 2, but they both had a slightly better exit. Now we see Dawson trapped on the outside. We see Ghost Reaper trying to push. Waterfire up ahead. 96 trying to go to the outside. 27 going to the inside. They're 3 wide as they come out of the final corner. Across the line, it is Dawson who still leads at the line, and Waterfire goes from third to first. Ghost Reaper leads. Dawson on the outside. Now it is a 5-car breakaway pack here at the head of this field with 19 to go when they hit the line. Right on board with Link at the back of this 5-car train right now. You can see Ghost Reaper leads, Dawson right behind, and now they're all going to go down to just about single file formation as they fire off into turn number 1 once again. Not quite perfectly nose to tail. Link is going to put the bumper to the right rear quarter panel of that 79, but no big move, no big forward progression for Link, it would appear. And there now we're seeing that 6th and 7th place, Godbuster and Black, have closed in on 4th and 5th. Water gets up into the wall, and that's going to let Link move up into the 4th spot now. But it is Boss Racer, who we've not talked a lot about being at the front. He is now up into the 3rd position, watching as Dawson and Ghost Reaper go back and forth here at the head of this group. Side by side, he's going to be right behind the number 27 as he goes down the straightaway. The 27 on the outside line has a little bit longer straightaway technically. It lets him get a little bit higher top end, but Dawson on the inside should have a quicker way around the track. You can see the 27 sliding up high, sliding wide, and it looks like Dawson's going to fall behind just for the moment. Now Boss goes to the inside. Big door-to-door contact between Boss and Ghost Reaper. This brings Dawson back into it. It brings Link back into it. And Boss goes to the lead, and Ghost Reaper falls to 4th. Might even fall to 5th. Now it's a 7-car pack at the head of this field. 96 now looks to the inside of Boss. Boss in that car that has not had a properly loaded paint scheme. We do apologize for that. But Boss was a little bit too wide, and now he lets both Dawson and Link through. So Link now back up to 2nd for the first time in a long time. And now he's going to go to the inside. He tries to get by Dawson on the extreme inside. Just about side to side. Still side by side. Dawson has the car ahead. Now Boss is going to go up the inside. He's going to make it 3 wide. Link says, I'm not doing this. He backs out. It will be 2 by 2 for the top 4 positions. They go into turn number 1 this time. Still side by side by side by side. Now Boss Racer really backs up the extreme inside line. Dawson leads. Ghost Reaper now goes up into 2nd. Here comes Link to the inside. He's got to draft off of Dawson. Dawson trying to keep Ghost Reaper trapped on the outside as well. Riding on board with Royally Stoned at the back of this pack of cars. XR Frosted pitting back there. Not really sure what the reasoning is there, but that's going to put him at least 1, if not 2 laps down. But an 8-car pack at the head of this field. They're all within a second of each other right now with less than 15 laps to go here at Homestead Miami Speedway. You can see in the midfield they still continue to go 2 and 3 wide sometimes, but up at the front it looks like the top 2 to 3 drivers have kind of settled in. It is Ghost Reaper, Dawson, and Link, the 3 drivers who have been the dominant forces throughout the day, and now this trio is starting to scoot away from Boss Racer Pro and the rest of the grid here. XR Frosted has officially gone a lap down now. So 8 drivers remain on the lead lap at this stage of the event. Link runs behind Dawson. Dawson trying to give Ghost a push to try and get by him here. When they hit the line, it will be 11 laps to go, and someone has stopped on the front straightaway. That is Willie, who seems to have had an accident and has completely destroyed everything on the nose of this car. Is that going to warrant a yellow flag? It is now 11 laps to go at the line. Top 3 have now broken away by a second over the rest of the field. It is Ghost Reaper, Dawson, and Link, the 3 drivers who have led the most laps throughout the day today. Willie's still limping around, but I think he will make it back into the pit lane. Yes, he does. He'll make it back into the pit lane and will not be a factor. So we should stay green now to the end of this race. It will be this trio fighting to the finish here. Now we see Ghost is actually starting to pull a bit of a gap on Dawson. We saw earlier that between these 3, Dawson was the one who was worse on his tires and fuel. Now, tires shouldn't be the worst scenario here. They shouldn't have to worry too much about tire fall off, but it may have something to do with how the rest of this plays out. Ghost Reaper is at 31% in the fuel tank. Dawson is at 32% in the fuel tank. And Link the Racer, who is in 3rd, is at 70% in the fuel tank. Oh, and we have a caution. We are under the yellow flag. I thought we wouldn't get another yellow because we were in the last 10 laps. We have a caution. So we're going to knock out a Twitch-mandated ad break. We'll be back momentarily for what should be a 5-lap sprint to the finish here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to Homestead Miami Speedway as we are about to go green after a very short yellow flag. We're going to be going green with 7 laps to go here at Homestead Miami Speedway. We anticipate it will be this run to the checkered flag here. Dawson outside, Ghost Reaper inside. Ghost had a fantastic jump and he immediately leaps in front of the number 96. Boss Racer trying to make the outside line work, but no one is out there willing to work with him. The 96 looks to the inside of the 27 as they go down the back straightaway. Here comes Link the Racer. Here comes Waterfire, who has been a underdog fighter at the front of this grid most of the day. Dawson goes to the lead. Waterfire is going to go to the inside, and we saw right there Ghost Reaper lick the outside wall. He's going to lose a big chunk of time. Here comes Link to the inside. Link goes to the lead. 6 laps to go. Side by side for second position. Dawson has wound up a big run on the outside, but he can't keep the car under him. Link is going to lead for just a little bit longer. Dawson outside, Waterfire inside. Again, Dawson winding up a big amount of speed on the outside, but it's so hard to maintain that speed on the extreme outside. Link is defending the inside very aggressively, trying to keep Waterfire behind. Dawson now slips to 3rd position. The outside line is just not ideal for overtaking, and we can see here that Link is being very aggressive on the inside line, doing everything he can to try and not let Waterfire get to his inside. When they get to the line, it will be 4 laps to go. Dawson incredibly wide that time. Link has actually opened up a small gap, but now Dawson is clear, doesn't have anyone to his inside. Top 8 all on top of each other pretty much, but it is legitimately just a fight between Link and Dawson. While the track is nice and wide, there only seems to be one truly functioning lane at this stage of the event. How well can Link defend against Dawson? Is Dawson going to give Link a big shove, try to push him offline to get alongside? He closes it in a bunch. He's not quite nose to tail as it comes to the start-finish line. 3 laps to go this time by. Again, Dawson now looks to the inside of Link. Not able to get alongside, not this time. Ghost Reaper has now recovered back up into the 3rd position. If these two ahead get side by side, he could close in, but I don't know if he'll be able to make a move. Link ran a little bit wider, higher line than Dawson. Dawson drifts up high, though, at the very end of turn 4. Still nose to tail as they come across the line. 2 laps to go here at Homestead Miami Speedway. Dawson has a little bit higher entry. Link has a little bit higher mid-corner. And then Dawson is going to dive to the inside. Could this be the move? The 96 goes to the inside of Link. But now Ghost Reaper is there. Ghost is going to go. He's going to try and go to the extreme inside. There's no room. He falls back to 3rd. Dawson inside, Link on the outside. They're going to be in a dead heat drag race as they come out of the final corner. White flag is in the air. Link leads, but Dawson is going to have to fall back in line behind. He looks to the inside. Link puts down a good defensive block. There's still nose to tail. There's no room for Dawson to get by, it appears, as Link is driving as deeply and low as he can. Dawson looks to the inside. Link defends. Now Link is pushed to the outside. He defends back to the inside. Final corner this time. The inside line is open. Just barely, but the 96, does he have the momentum? He does not. Link comes down. He shuts the door. Here comes Ghost. Ghost turns him. Ghost turns Dawson, and Dawson gets hit by multiple cars after crossing the line. Link the racer wins. Dawson comes across the line in 2nd, backwards off of the front bumper of Ghost Reaper. Waterfire will come home in 4th position. 5th will be Godbuster. 6th will be Boss Racer Pro. 7th will be XMS Dragon. 8th will be Royalty Stone. 9th will be XR Frosted. 10th will be Dub 1775. Last of our late lap finishers will be PRG Black. In 11th, 12th will be Punisher 1353, a lap down, and 13th will be Gen 3, 3 laps down. 12-ounce Willie ended up not making it to the end. He dropped out with a little less than 10 laps left in the event. But Link the Racer, who did not lead the most laps in that fight between himself, Dawson, and Ghost Reaper, ends up winning by putting on a fantastic defensive drive today. Incredible stuff what he was able to put together out there, and we are going to try and reach out to some of our top finishers here in a bit to see if we can get any interviews from their opinions on how that race played out for them. All right, can you hear me, Waterfire?
I can hear you.
All right, awesome. In the Xbox party, there should be an option to include the audio. Go ahead and hit that.
Yeah, just invite Ghost. Hold on, before we start, bro. I had damage though. I'm still happy.
Hey, you would've got top 3, but dude, I was making some good plays because I was lifting through every single turn so that way they couldn't get under me, and they rear-ended me, so I was just kind of like brake checking them through every single turn, dude.
Did you invite? Hold on, did you invite?
I've sent 2 invites already to Ghost. Now I've sent an invite to Dawson, but they haven't seemed to be able to get in yet.
Yeah,
so.
I'm pretty sure they're still talking to everybody. There was a couple of racing incidents. That was a good race. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. That was a good race. That was fun.
I don't know.
I don't know if Dawson's going to join us or not. All right, ladies and gentlemen, real quickly, we want to go ahead and get proper interviews going. We're going to start with our race winner, Link the Racer. Link, go ahead, make sure your audio is included. You started on the pole, and you led the most important lap of that race. fantastic drive. What do you have to say about your run out there today?
Well, I just played it smart. Stayed behind everybody, saved my fuel, saved my tires, made good pit strategies. But it was overall just a really clean race. Shout out to all the drivers. There was minimal cautions, just really good race.
All right, it was a fantastic drive. We know that in about 2 weeks' time, there's going to be a all-star race. We believe that you should be invited. Do you feel that there are any lessons from this event that you'll be able to apply to that all-star event?
Well, I wish I could make it, but I got a real-life go-kart race that I got to make it to. But if I could make it, I'd probably remember that everybody's going to defend hard on the last lap, and I know that I can hold it fast on the outside. So I would just keep it on the outside and try to get that run off the last turn and win it.
All right, you did a fantastic drive defending out there, mate. Definitely hold your head high going forward. Thanks for jumping in and talking with us.
Yep, thank you.
All right, I want to talk with our second place finisher, Dawson14 here. Dawson, in the Xbox party, go ahead and hit the box that says include audio if you can.
Yeah, I got you.
All right, Dawson, interesting event. You pretty much dominated the middle third of the race and were right there in the fight to the end, but ended up being a little bit too short and completely backwards when you crossed the line. What do you have to say about your run out there today?
Yeah, that was an interesting second half of that race. Was actually able to pull away there for a little bit. It was pretty interesting, but we got a couple cautions, got bunched up again, and yeah, it was mainly me, Ghost, and Link battling up there towards the front. Really fun racing with those guys. Everybody kept it clean towards the front, so it was a really good battle. Happy with the second place, but yeah, congrats to Link. He did well.
All right. There should be that all-star race that's going to be coming up for the series in about 2 weeks' time. Do you feel that there are any lessons you can take from this event going into that all-star race event later in the month?
Yeah, definitely. Good learning experience here. How to race at the end. Kind of know what situation I need to be in, where I need to put myself to be in a position to win. So yeah, definitely some lessons learned.
All right. Thanks for jumping in and talking with us, mate. It was a good run out there. Just ended up being a little bit short at the line. One last question, though. Any hard feelings against Ghost Reaper when the two of you got into it, come to the checkers?
No. We already knew we were too far away from getting the win, and it was just that was just a little grief there at the end. Yeah, nothing to worry about.
All right, fair enough. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and talk with our third place finisher, Ghost Reaper. Ghost, you led more laps today than anybody else. You and Link seem to be really hooked up and were just able to pull away from the rest of the field at will. And yet, in the end, you just were not there at the end. What do you have to say about your run out there today?
It was a pretty good run. What really killed me is when Boss came in and took the lead, and I got shoved out to the outside. I lost a lot of ground there, but I slowly worked my way back up. Got stuck behind water there for a while. He ended up blocking me a few times on the exit of 3 and 4. But once I got past him, I started catching up to Dawson and Link, and if I had another lap or two, I think I might have been more in contention than I was, but nothing I could really do at that point.
Well, it was pretty good running. I do want to ask, though, I'm going to ask this to everyone. All-Star race coming up in about 2 weeks. Do you feel there were any lessons learned from this event that you'll be able to apply there?
Yeah, I've learned quite a bit here. It's really just arrow wash that you have to watch out for the most. That'll really screw you over into the wall if you're not careful.
All right, well, nice, simple lesson, but at least you not only know it, you know exactly how it's going to work out. Definitely keep an eye on you going forward in about 2 weeks' time. Thanks for jumping in and talking with us, Ghost. Now I want to talk with our fourth place finisher, Waterfire. Water, interesting day for you. Early on, you were just nowhere really near the front, but as the race progressed, you seemed to be closer and closer and closer to the front of the field, and you were legitimately fighting for the win there until the very end. What do you have to say about your run out
Well, I kind of damaged my car, so I wasn't going to win, but the fact that I stayed up there for like almost 70 laps with damage was pretty amazing, But, I got better from last season, and I think I'm gonna qualify for the All-Star race, and I'm gonna win it. I'm gonna beat Ghost. He's slow, so I'm gonna beat him. And that's all I gotta say.
Got it. So you're gonna beat the guy who's slow that still finished ahead of you. All right.
Yeah. He got lucky. He got
We
lucky,
will be looking. We'll be looking forward to that because you obviously saw something that I did not hear. So I'm
He
really
was pretty slow. I know. If I didn't have damage, bro, I still caught the man with damage in the corners. He was slow, bro. He was a slow boy. But that's besides the point. It was a good race, and I'm gonna win Daytona, and I'm gonna win the All-Star race. So I'm gonna win back to back. So I gotta say.
a lot of pride. Be aware, pride comes before a fall. But
I
man,
don't
I will say,
care.
if you pull that off, if you can do the Michael Wall trip and win the All-Star Open and then the All-Star race proper, that would be pretty impressive. And then if you can win at Daytona proper, that would also be pretty impressive. If you can do that, you definitely earn the right to talk everyone else the rest of the season to your heart's content. But we'll definitely look at how that plays out going forward.
You hear that, Ghost? I'm gonna talk my mouth off. But yeah, that's it. So other than that, it was a good race.
All right. Thanks for jumping in, talking with us. We tried to reach out to Godbuster a few times. It seems like he's either not able or not willing to jump in. So with that in mind, that'll pretty much wrap up our broadcast here for the PPRL exhibition event at Homestead Miami Speedway. In about 2 weeks' time, it will be on a different channel. I will not be the one covering it. There will be the All-Star race. And then on January 3rd, PPRO will start what is, I believe, their 23rd NASCAR Cup Series season. So be ready to jump in on that if you are interested in some very late-night stock car racing action here on Saturdays. But until next time, I've been your host for today's broadcast, Insane Layer 13. Thank you very much for joining us. Farewell and goodbye, everyone.